We got 25 minutes. We got to go. Happy Hump Day!
It's Wednesday. Wednesday is becoming my favorite day of the week. I just have to say that. Yes, and then the camel.
Happy Wednesday, Say That Nation. I'm getting my light setting.
Say That Nation. Jeannie, I see you in the chat. Happy Wednesday.
Happy Wednesday. Guys, we're incredibly excited to be with you guys. I know. Oh, man. You know it's going to be good when we start the conversation prior to the show, and now we're even more excited to keep it going and let you guys in on it. So we're definitely excited to jump in there.
Okay, so first of all, we want to say thank you to all of our Say That Nation members, all of our Patreon community members who are watching live on YouTube. We appreciate you being here and then doing all of the overtimes with us, with our guests. And so if this brings value to you, you got to hit the like. You got to hit the subscribe button. You know why? Because when you do that, that allows us to that tells YouTube to send this message out to more people who also find it valuable. It'll like actually come in their stream, like, want to watch this? So if you think that this is truly valuable, you have to hit the like, you have to hit subscribe. If you have already done that, thank you so much. We love all of our subscribers and all of our community members. We thank you. All you are doing is giving more like confidence that we are out here trying to spread the good news of helping other entrepreneurs. That's what we're trying to do out here. Help others. All right. So are you ready? I got the drum roll.
All right.
Ready for today's
And today's question is,
how important is it to love the product you're marketing?
Absolutely love it. All right, guys. 25 minutes.
25 minutes on the clock. Here we go. All right. Do you want to start, or do you want me to start?
No. You can kick it off. I'm excited again because I know as we answer this, it's going to lead us into literally what I think we were talking about right before we got on.
Okay. So stay hydrated, my friends. I will start off by saying it's important, right? I think it is important to love is strong for me. Love is strong. I think it depends on what your product is. For us in network marketing, I think it's important for you to really like your product. I think it's important for you to find that it helps you in some way, right? I think that's hugely important. But what I think is probably, especially in network marketing, what's really important is if you understand how it can help and serve others. Because then, I mean, like, I may like a particular aspect of what it is, but that doesn't mean like the masses like that same exact thing. They may actually prefer another part of it, right? And so what's important for me within network marketing is to recognize I really do like the product. It's not like I hate it. So let's be clear. If you hate your product, it's not gonna work. So let me put that out there. I think if you hate your product, I shouldn't even say that because we have a mentor who like used to sell something that he said like tasted like ass, and he used to sell it anyway, right? Like, I don't know. Okay, but I think you will have an easier time. I think your conscience will feel better if you at least like your product. I will say that, right? Like if you really don't like your product, I think you're just like, it's an uphill battle. I just think it's really difficult. But what many people within network marketing is they like the model of the business model of network marketing and the idea that you can create other leaders, the fact that you're like growing organizations. And so it's not necessarily the products that they love, it's the model with which the product is being sold and the idea that you can create a residual income that's like outside of you, like outside of your efforts, and that you're growing a team of individuals who can do this. So if you find someone and, you know, they end up joining your team to build this business with you and they love the product, like that's awesome. And so you have some network marketers who don't love it as much as their other people in their business, but that's the whole point of network marketing is that, again, you're building an organization where you'll have people who basically can outwork you, can outlove the product from you, right? And so that I think is interesting. Now, if you are a founder of a company, of your own product or that I will say you're going to have to love that thing, because you're going to be in that thing, and whether it works or not is you. It is your effort. You got to do the thing. Everything starts and falls or starts and ends with you, or lives and dies with you. So if you don't love what you're promoting, what you're selling, your product or service, as a founding like person of a business, you gotta love it. Otherwise, like you'll just like end up being like, oh, I'm burnt out, I'm done, right? So I feel like that's what keeps you going, when you have a love and a passion for whatever your product or service is as a founder of a company. Otherwise, for the network marketing model, I think it's, again, I know that there are people who have sold things that they really did not like. I just feel like that is harder. And there are so many products and services that network marketing companies now offer. I think it's just easier if you found one that at least had a product that you liked. And if it had a product that you loved, I think it would also just make it easier, right? But I think it's important. I wouldn't say it's absolutely necessary for the love for network marketing, only because mainly it's also okay for you to love the model and like the product. That's also powerful.
Yeah. I love where you went with this, Jay. And I would say, I think that is really what it comes down to in terms of, if you look at the question, it's a question like, where are we looking at this from in terms of, am I the person who's created this product that I'm, trying to get out to the masses? Or like many people, like you said, work for a company that has to just sell something and you're responsible to kind of get that out there. But if you look at it from our business model, I do think there's so much more that you can get from there, because again, you may not love the product that you're marketing. One, I would say the one thing you'd want to maybe know is that it works.
Yes.
And like Janelle talked about that, if it's something where, let's say it's a product that you don't necessarily maybe need or use. I knew a guy who, again, he sold tampons. And I only bring that up. Obviously, the guy is not using that. So for me, he must have done enough research and found out that, hey, this works, whether he got it for himself and gave it to a couple, you know what I mean? There's something that you got to know. Because to me, no matter how great, and Janelle said, you can build an organization, if the product ultimately doesn't work, then you're kind of doing that in vain in some sense. And I think there are other aspects of it that you can look at. I completely agree with Janelle. I don't think you need to love the product you're marketing. I do think, like I said, you need to know that it works. If for a demographic, right, is something that is marketable. And then the other thing that I'm thinking about, Jay, is how much are we looking to, if somebody's looking at marketing something, on what level do you want this product to be known by people and them connect to you? Because there's some people, they go out to restaurants and they may like take a picture of their meal. They're doing some level of marketing there. But I think if we understand this from a business level now, we have to recognize how important it is for you to market something. And I agree with you more. I think if you love the idea of what can be made through the income that you get from selling this product, through building a team, through network marketing or something like that, then essentially in my mind, I think of like an Instagram or social media, or if you're doing it word of mouth, either way, at some way you got to have a platform that people are finding out about this business. The frequency that you share that this thing is yours, I think is ultimately going to be a big part of what determines the success of the business that you're doing. And so I think you do have to have some love for it. And again, to your point, maybe not the product itself, but the idea of what you're building, right? The enthusiasm. I think many people thrive off of, or maybe it's the lack of that now that we don't really see as much, I guess, in the marketplace with people, in terms of people who may not be having success in their business.
The lack of
just enthusiasm, and again, in terms of sharing the whatever it is that they're marketing. Because again, you can love it. Let's see, you said it. We talked about this last week in a sense. Well, the uncensored version of last week's episode was going to be: Are you a closet? Are you a closet networker, right? Or a closet marketer? And I think that's what I mean. Like, some people have products, they have something that they own or maybe are trying to get out there that people buy, they can earn some income, but they don't. They're not talking about it. They're not telling people about it. So I think you can actually really start to how much do you love your product based on how much you market it? If we flip the question around, right?
Yes, that is true. I think that's a sure signal. If you're not marketing it that much, maybe you don't like it that much, right?
Yeah. Oh, so here's where I the reason why I went there. In thinking about what we were talking about behind the scenes, guys, we were talking about we have a training event coming up for one of the businesses that we're part of, and I was talking to Janelle about what are we looking at now when we talk about us now recognizing as people building and becoming marketers ourselves. How do we learn to do this? So I'm asking Janelle, hey, if we're considering companies to partner up with, what are we looking at now to make the decision on whether or not we move forward marketing a certain product? And I'm, in terms of looking at it from people who leave one business and go on to another business, we hear about it all the time. Athletes leave one team to go work at another team. I mean, again, this stuff happens all the time. I'm asking Janelle, as entrepreneurs, what do we look at to make that decision? And one of the things I asked her literally right before we got on is the person who runs the training organization or the training component of that entity. Again, you can look at it in sports. It's, in most instances, the coaches. People are going to certain teams because of the coach that's there, right? Again, these are all amazing athletes.
LeBron went to LA, right?
Yeah, again. And maybe the coaching for many is like, oh, well, the coach wasn't there. But he went there because there's a lot more cachet with that organization that he knew he was going to be able to attract other better players. Think about that. If you're in a network marketing company, there are a lot of companies that have been around for a very long time, incredibly established. And if you're looking to go there, you know that, hey, this company, like we talked about before, guys, 3 to 5 years, many businesses don't make it. If you're partnering up with a company, you want to know that they're going to be there. They've been through some things, right? And Herbalife as a company is literally, because of them, we're able to do a lot of what we're able to do in the network marketing industry. So shout outs to them and what that company's done. And if you look at it from that perspective, what are you looking at? And please chime in the chat, guys. Let us know what are you guys looking at when you're going into making decisions about any company, right? Even if you're just, let's say, looking at for a job, are you just looking to get someplace to pay you? Because you could probably earn money anywhere. Well, in some respect, Janelle's a genetic counselor where she can tell you the percentages of people who are actually allowed to do what it is that she does.
Well, there's a certain thing that slows. There's like what do you call it when you're like? There's a lot of people who want to get in, but then if you get to the other side, kind of like a funnel. Yeah. Anyway, that being said, I love when you talked about the training, right? So, oh wait, is there something that is there a question or just a statement?
Well, she was commenting on this. Yeah, there you go. The guy doesn't need to know doesn't necessarily need to use or love the product in the tampon to know that they work.
He knows it works. Yeah.
There was a girl on our team that told me she bought it from him. I'm like, you're buying tampons from a dude on the train? And she was like, yeah, he showed me. I was like, he obviously knew enough about that product to talk to her about it. And she made a decision to purchase that. Again, amazing. A skill, something you can learn. That's the point we're trying to make. Something we all can go out there and learn. Thank you for that question.
Well, yeah. So it's interesting, right? Like, for some people, this is like understandably a stepping stone. For some people, entering into network marketing as a business model gives them like a first dip into having your own business. What is it like to make sales? What is it like to promote a product or service that you have? Like, it kind of just gives you like this idea, the idea about passive residual income, about doing that, how to recruit people into your business, into your organization, right? Because like, if you have a business, eventually you're going to need employees. Yeah, you're going to need to recruit people. You're going to need to sell. You're going to need like, all of these things. And so there are a lot of people who use network marketing as kind of like, and it's low cost of entry, right? So like most network marketing companies to get started, it's anywhere between, I don't know, like probably as low as maybe like $100 to $200, upwards of like $2,000, right?
Yeah.
And that is way less than the traditional business. Traditional businesses, on average, it takes anywhere from $5,000 to $10,000 to start minimum. And there are many that are even more. And that's why most people don't start a business, because they're like, who's got like $5,000 to $10,000 sitting around right now to like start a business? And then if that comes from your savings and you've been saving for years and you got $10,000 and then you use that and then the business doesn't work out, now all your savings are gone, right? Absolutely. And so with network marketing, if you're only putting in, $200, $400, $500, even $1,000, you still got your savings. So it's like the risk is low. You get in and you kind of like learn all these business skills. And some people see that for what it is and they're like, I'm good. This is like a turnkey business for me. I don't need to market anything. Like they've already created all of like the really fancy graphics and like all this other stuff. Like I don't need to do that part. They've already set up email systems that like go out to my customers, like all this other things. Like they're just, for many people, already have a website. There's already like a payment system. Like I don't need to worry. I don't need to set that up, right? So for many people, it's a turnkey business and they're like, I'm going to go to the top of this because there is no cap on how much money I can make, right? Like I can just make as well as I can produce. For other people, again, it's a stepping stone. And then they're like, oh, I'm learning so much. The risk was so low. And now that I have all this knowledge, and then they take it to build something that they want to create on their own, right?
Yeah.
And some people do all that at the same time. Right. And that's also possible. What I think in learning that, right, like in understanding like what people do, it's also really important to recognize, okay, so if this is like my first round in being an entrepreneur and having my own business, like how important it is for these people to train me. How important is it for these people, my mindset, like understanding business. If when you go to an event and when you get to the event, it's just about recognition. Now, recognition is important. So I'm not saying that there shouldn't be recognition, but if that's all it is, and you just see people who are making money and they're up on stage and like, there's no really like no pouring into you, right? You may not even recognize it because you're inspired because you see a lot of people who look like you on stage being recognized. You're like, oh man, if only I can do what they can do. But nobody's really teaching you how they did what they did, right? Like if nobody's really getting into the weeds and doing like a step-by-step process or teaching a system for how to get it done, and system stands for saving you time, energy, and money. So like if that's not there, like if you recognize that it's just people up on stage, they're being recognized, and that's amazing, it inspires you, and yet you don't feel like you are growing as a person or as an individual, that's going to be hard. Because if you're going to do well in that organization, you're probably not going to find a lot of mentors, and mentorship is really important to continue growth. And if you move on to like a business outside of the network marketing business model, then all you're left with is that, right? Like you're like, okay, so like recognition is important, but like you didn't learn like all these other things that are really important for having a business in terms of mindset and other things. So like I do believe that if you're going to go into the network marketing industry and you're trying to figure out which company that you should go to, I think it's okay to like explore, find out like, hey, do you have a training coming up? I'd love to go to the training. I think that would be huge. I think it's a huge first step. You get a sense as to like what this is about. You do want to see, of course, recognition, because people will die for recognition. It's like a man in the desert looking for water. But you also need that other part. So I do believe that the training is important.
Agree. And I see Jeannie says in the chat, I believe there's so much more challenging to sell a product that you have little to no knowledge of. That also leads to a lack of motivation as well, like you were saying, Janelle. More. And we got Brittany. This reminds me of Wolf on Wall Street. Sell me this pen.
Oh, sell me the pen.
Yeah, that was a really good scene.
Because it's the skill of, it doesn't matter what the pen is, right?
See,
the skill was, how do you figure out what somebody needs?
And I was actually going to say that.
What they need.
That's where the training, to me, one, I completely agree with you in terms of what, again, network marketing offers than traditional. Because let's say, guys, I make amazing food, pizza, whatever, pie. My family's like, oh, man, you need to sell these things. And I have that ambition and I want to go out to do that. The reality, to Janelle's point, one, about cost of what it would start to either get a food truck, which is where the 5 to 8 thousand comes up from, right? If you're starting something like that, that can easily run you that. Then I'm, out there getting a licensing and all those things for terms to make the food. Going out there, how do I know how to market what I am now making, something I know how to make? That's a completely different level, and I love it because in Janelle's point, again, the industry offers you training. And if you are taking advantage of that, this is a skill, which to me, guys, it means no matter where any of us start, we can all go out and do really well in this industry. And it made me think, Janelle, as you're talking about the people who, they'll say something's a scam or they say something, well, essentially that. And I'm like, it's just most of the times you hear about that, it's something where you were told your money was going to do work on its own and it just didn't pan out the way you thought it was, right? But to me, if you have an opportunity to actively play a part in whether your business does well or not, I think that just gives you way more leverage and way more power. And I agree with you. I think you need to fall in love with the idea of getting good at doing this. And some people, again, we've watched it. We're in this now 7 years, and certainly not where we know we can be, based on what we've learned, but we know we're much further. And again, just like we were saying behind thing, it's that skill that I think, and recognition. And again, what does the company offer you in terms of helping you scale, or like what's the company's plan to scale your business? How much opportunity do you have there? So I know we're going to talk when this is all over about that too. No, so anything else, you guys in the chat? Janelle, anything else?
Yeah, I mean, this may just end up being a shorter episode just because like we both feel very strongly about this. Yeah. And that's probably okay. But I would love to know more in the comments of, especially if this is like new for people, like they never considered if it's like, I didn't recognize this, or I didn't realize that this could be like a thing. Or if you've had your own experience where it's like, yeah, actually I did start this and I have found that I actually like this, love this, and actually don't like that. And how does that play a role in how successful your business is? I'd love to continue the conversation about this because I think, I think this distinction is really, really important. And especially right now, right? Like I've just recently been seeing more and more stuff about how people who we would consider workers who are essential, like teachers, for example, right? Or even nurses. And just how many of those individuals are like, yeah, I'm out. And they're not out like, oh, I'm out and I'm just going to freeload and get the money that the government is giving out, because the government isn't giving out any money anymore.
That's over.
And so it's like, okay, so like we're going back to work, or are you starting your own business?
Yeah.
Which we know that a lot of people are, because you're on here, you're watching with us, right? This idea of like, I don't want a boss. And we've had conversations about this. Like I know we had it with Lily.
Yeah, we've got different people.
Please go back and watch that episode, because that was a very powerful episode. Lily and Couture, shout out to her. But if you're there, if that's where you are right now, like you're like, I need to get this business going because I recognize that a boss isn't necessarily going to pay me what I feel like I'm worth, and nor are they going to give me the flexibility that I'm really looking for, that I know a business will allow me to, like it'll allow me to kind of like have a much more flexible work schedule.
Yeah.
Be able to work from home is really important right now. And if those things are starting to become really important for you, and that's why you started your business, like at this point, like I'm just thinking about all those people who are just trying to figure it out. Like they're like, this is not working. The system that we used to live in before is just not working. So like, what do I do now? What do I do? And who do I turn to? And like, how do I know who to trust? And like, what is the right thing to do? I'm out here all by myself, like trying to figure this out. I just know that the way that I was working before wasn't working. Like it wasn't really working for me, it wasn't. Anyway, so that's why I would love to continue the conversation, because I recognize that what's happening right now in the world, people are recognizing that it's not okay. Their mental health is more important than, the money that they were bringing in from this job that was causing their mental health to be so for.
Yeah, point in the first place, absolutely. I'm new to network marketing, but I love that my company offers trainings and that there are different resources and mentors. Say that.
Yeah. Thanks for
Yeah, say that.
sharing. Yeah.
Yeah. Am I being taught how to build and grow in business? I'm also learning how to grow as a person. Say that.
Yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
I think that's important. That's
No,
what
it
I
really
don't
is.
know.
Well, we and to chime in, I know please guys drop your thoughts in the chat as well. But just to piggyback on what you're saying, Janelle, I know for me, somebody who's going through this with you guys, belief is a big part of this, and not necessarily in the product for me because I believe the products work. I've been a part of a service based one. I believe the service worked as well. But I definitely recognize that the difference in the people who are, kind of making a little bit of money with this or really doing, significantly well is there is a skill. And to Janelle's point, bringing people into your organization who can outwork you and I mean that in any business, if you are stepping into it, we've had people who've come on who've talked about bringing partners on and that partners allowed for the business to expand. So I think at some point you need to get your skill to a place where that person who's supposed to come into your organization, you guys are, right there in sync. And I agree with Janelle. They can be better than you in an area where that's what you needed. I think that's what's truly the difference in growth in any business. Janelle has strengths that I don't, and vice versa. And we were able to, play off of that, and it's allowed us to start two businesses together. She's stepping into her third. We're writing books. I mean, a lot of this is stemmed from a relationship. And again, to the point Jeannie made about the education that we've received through for me anyway, through network marketing and through the companies that we've been able to work with. So I definitely think that it's really important to just again look at this like any other skill. I think even when she said in the chat about not being comfortable sharing it based on the beliefs and knowledge, I think again, once you get your skill up, anything becomes a lot easier for you to step into. I know when we first started, talking to random Uber drivers was not a forte of ours, and I will definitely tell you when there was no pandemic, that was one of our pastimes. Oh, all the time.
Say
So,
that.
no, let's tell me that. Janelle would not get into an Uber and not get out that bad boy without. I mean, she was like
A
two out of
contact
three.
number
Yeah, every Uber.
and an appointment.
We literally made marketing and networking into a skill. And now we're having to learn because the world is shifting, and things aren't, as maybe as welcoming as one point. So again, as entrepreneurs, how do you adapt in this new environment with things being offered virtually? Like things are right now. How are you adapting into even that in terms of marketing your product? I know we're out of time, so to Janelle's point, we'll definitely have to pick this conversation up again.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
We'll
So
bring some other people here.
I would like to say that since this is the last show in in January, that this has been a great first month of the year, right? And we're well into season 3. But I just wanted to give a huge announcement that for the next 2 months, we will actually be doing themed months. Since February is Black History Month, we're going ultra Black for February, where we are only going to be having Black entrepreneurs on. So that way they can just talk about their businesses and again give wisdom and insight. That doesn't mean that you can only be Black to receive the insight. Just to be clear, you can be anyone and receive the insight wisdom. It's just that the guest will be Black, and so that's going ultra Black in February, so starting next week. And then we're really excited to have Keith Gross. He'll be our first entrepreneur coming in next week. And then the month after that will be March Madness, but not just any kind of March Madness. It's going to be March MLM Madness. So we're going to talk to a whole bunch of network marketers, a whole bunch of people in MLM or multi-level marketing, and those people in that type of business model like we are, and they will be sharing some wisdom. So if you know anybody who you think could get any wisdom from either of those two categories, get them on. Remember, subscribe, all of this helps in spreading the good news and helping other entrepreneurs out there.
Absolutely. And thank you guys so much. Don't forget to go back and check out last week's episode, guys. Absolutely a blessing there. We know you guys are going to love it. Let's sign it off.
As always, remember you deserve
the good life. Say that.
Say that.
Have a great Wednesday, you guys.